today we're going to be making some delicious vegan lemon and poppy seed muffins. So I've got all my ingredients set out here and I'm going to talk you through the ingredients as we put them together. So the first thing that I'm actually going to do is I'm going to mix together some oat milk and some apple cider vinegar, and this is because I need the oat milk to curdle slightly. So you can do this with lemon juice as well, but we're going to do it with apple cider vinegar today. So I'm just going to grab a tablespoon. Oh no, I only need a teaspoon of this, don't I? Okay, so just making sure it's level. Usually I use actually a teaspoon measure, but I'm just going to use a normal teaspoon, okay? So 1 teaspoon, give it a little stir, and then just set it aside. That'll take a couple of minutes to curdle, okay? So that's why we need to do that first to get that process started, okay? So I'm just going to set that aside. Just pop that there. And then in another bowl, I'm going to sift out my dry ingredients. So I've already got into here 330 grams of sifted plain flour. The next thing I'm going to start to add is my baking powder, because we need to get a good rise on these. And so because we've used plain flour, we also need to use baking powder. So I've got my baking powder here and I need 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder. So I've got a 1 teaspoon measure here. So I'll do 2 of these. 1, 2.5. So I've got my bicarb of soda here, and for this one I'm just going to use 1/2 teaspoon. Okay, so I'm going to pop those in, and then I'm just going to put a couple of grinds of salt on there as well, about 1/2 teaspoon's worth. Okay, nice little bit of seasoning, and then we're going to set that aside. Now in your third bowl, or you could do this in a jug if you wanted, I've already put into here 100 grams of organic coconut sugar. Okay, so I've got 100 grams there. Then I'm just going to turn my scales on because I'm going to use some cold pressed rapeseed oil. And I just need 65 ml of this. Okay, 65 ml of rapeseed oil there. I'm going to add into that the zest of a lemon and 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, okay? When you zest a lemon, make sure that you only take off the top layer of the rind. Don't go right down into the white, otherwise the white is quite bitter and like pithy. It doesn't taste very nice. So just take off the very top layer, and then we'll squeeze out 3 tablespoons of lemon juice as well. So I'll squeeze this one. I'd already squeezed the other half, so we'll do that half and then we'll just grate this. Okay, so you can either rest your zester on top, you can do it with box graters as well. They have one that's as fine as these holes. I just find it easier to hold it over the top. So I'm only grating quite lightly. I just want the very top layer. I don't want to go too deep. I don't want to get that bitter taste in here. Okay, so there is my lemon zest, and then I'll just add in 3 tablespoons of lemon juice as well. One, I might even have enough here. There we go, okay. Set that to the side. Give it a little mix together and then add in a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Please make sure you use good quality, use little measurers, good quality vanilla extract. Vanilla essence is not the same thing. It's a flavouring. Extract is actually from the vanilla bean. Okay? So we'll give that a little mix together, and then we'll have a little look at that oat milk mixture. Okay, let's see if we've got any curdle action going on here. It's just starting to a little bit, not lots, but that's absolutely fine. I'm going to pour this in, and I'm going to keep mixing as I'm pouring. careful this doesn't splash out at you. Because of that rapeseed oil, it will stain your clothes, which I don't imagine you'll want. Okay, give it a little mix. And now we're going to fold this into our dry ingredients. So I'm going to give this one a little mix as well, because we've got our baking powder and our bicarb in there with our plain flour and our little bit of salt. And I want those to be nicely mixed first. Okay, I'm going to make a little divot in the middle. Now you could whisk these if you want. I will, if I think it's a bit lumpy, I'll whisk it, but I'm going to start with folding it in. Okay, and just scoop around. And once that starts to be mixed, add the rest in. Okay. Get a little spatula if you want to get all those last bits out. Like I always say, I can't stand any waste. I like to use absolutely everything in the bowl. Okay, just fold this together. You just want it to start to come together. You don't want to over beat it, which is why we're not doing it in a stand mixer. You don't want to beat out any air that you're potentially putting in there right now. It's all nice and airy and light. If you put it in a stand mixer, sometimes that gets beaten out. So just mix it so you know they're all nicely mixed together. That's nice. Okay, now we're going to put some poppy seeds in our mix and we're going to sprinkle some on top. Okay, so I'm going to take about a tablespoon. Grab another spoon. And I'm just going to scatter them over. Okay, you don't need a massive amount of poppy seeds. You can see that just with that tablespoon, it already looks like quite a lot. You don't want to overwhelm this lovely little muffin with them. Okay, so that's all together now. I'm going to pop them into their cases. Some people like to use ice cream scoops for doing this. I find because it is quite a runny mix, I prefer to just do it with a tablespoon. So let's move some of this out of the way. Let's bring some of my cases in front of me. Okay, so this should make about 12. So what I do is I tend to take a tablespoon straight over the top and then push off the excess with another spoon. Okay, so if you do that 12 times over, and then we'll get them in the oven. So I'm going to pop these in my preheated oven now. It's at 170 degrees in a fan oven. If you're not using a fan oven, I'd probably go up to 180. And these are going to go in for about 17 to 18 minutes. Okay. So once these come out and they're cool, we're going to make a really nice cream cheesy lemon icing. So the lemon and poppy seed muffins are now out of the oven. They've been on this cooling wire for about 40 minutes. So they're completely cold to the touch underneath and on top, which you want them to be before you're gonna venture anywhere with icing. So for these icings, this icing even, we're gonna make a cream cheese icing. Now, brilliantly, Philadelphia have now brought out a vegan cream cheese, and it's just called plant-based cream cheese, which is what this is, and it's really, really nice. So I've got a whole pot of this, which is just over 150 grams, and into this, I'm gonna pop, you want to be careful with how much lemon juice you put in, because you don't wanna make it too tart. So I'm gonna put about a tablespoon in. And then on top of that, I'm gonna add in 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. The other thing to think about when you're making this icing, if you add too much liquid into cream cheese, it just goes really runny. It doesn't hold the shape. So you do need to be a little bit careful with that, okay? So that's all the ingredients for my icing. I'm just gonna gently mix them with my spoon. Push the back into it to try and give it a little mix. I don't want to start mixing too quickly for too soon, otherwise it's going to fly out at me. Okay, now it's all nearly mixed, I can go a little bit harder. As soon as it's mixed together, nice and evenly, stop mixing. Otherwise you're going to overmix it and it's going to start to go too loose. Okay, so I've got that. I'm happy with that now. Okay, so I'm just going to start to spread this on top of my muffins. So I'm going to do one at a time. I'm going to take about a tablespoon and I'm just going to place it on top. I'm not going to spread them just yet. I'm going to get all of them on first. And then I'm going to give them a little spread around. I just want to make sure that I've got enough to cover all of them. So I've got 12 muffins here, which was exactly just enough mix I had to make all 12. So I'm a bit short now on icing. So because I haven't spread them, what I'll do is one that I've got quite a lot, I'll just take it off and half it. We'll get one more out of this bit and then we'll have to nick a bit for the last one. Or you can have one without icing, it's up to you. So I was probably a little bit too generous at the beginning with my portions. So I'm going to nick a little bit off that one and a little bit off this one. Okay, and I'm going to have one without icing. And I'm going to give that one to my daughter because she doesn't like the icing. Okay, and I'll just take the back of your spoon and just gently spread it around. Okay, so you've got a nice little, I tend to finish my spread with a little of my spoon, so it's got that nice little shape to it. So I've kind of gone like that. It's kind of hard to describe, but I want a little bit indented there. And I'm just gonna spread over the top of these a couple of poppy seeds, not masses, but just a sprinkling. Okay, so I'll get all 11 of these with their icing on, and then I'll sprinkle with a little bit of poppy seed. So I've got 11 of them iced, and that one there just, you know, spare for my daughter. And I'm just gonna, with clean fingers, take a few poppy seeds and sprinkle them over the top of each cupcake or muffin. You could call these cupcakes or muffin. They kind of, size-wise, they kind of straddle the two. And there we go. There is our lemon and poppy seed muffins. I hope you have a go at this and I really hope you enjoy.